What a difference. This is the before view before we get all the trimming done. Can you believe it? I would bring you along in my process when I start these projects. I have a tote here that I keep all of the things I need in there, my trimmers, my glasses, all the things. And I have my breakfast and my coffee, so that I'm planning out my day. And I'm sitting here in the front yard at our table, and I can see all of the garden from here and all the work ahead. So that's my plan. I'm going to have my coffee and my breakfast and make my plan for the day. I think I'm going to start on the lavender. I brought out a jar. I think I am going to save some of that today, maybe put some sachets together. Even though they're a little past the peak harvesting time, they still have great scent and they still are nice to have around. So anyway, let me get my list done, then we'll get to the work and I'll meet you on the other side. Hi, it's Sharon from Ponderosa Garden Adventures. Thanks for joining us here today. I'm out in my front yard and we are working on a late summer trim and cleanup. It's time to get the perennials trimmed back. It's time to get some weeds pulled, and it's just time to do kind of a little refresh before the really, really hot weather hits. And so Mark and I are kind of splitting up the projects, divide and conquer, and we're going to take you along for that. I've already got footage that'll show you the before. We'll take you along and show you the after. And I've got to trim lavender and roses and just the things we need to do in August. Not very exciting, but it's a big payoff in the end. So I hope you'll come along with me and let's go get started. I did do some filming the other day when we had kind of a break in the heat, but I wanted to show you, since then, we've had some roses that are blooming, and I just wanted to show you little superstar moments in our front garden. We even still have some alyssum that's blooming, which is so unusual in this hot weather. The Russian sage I trimmed back is coming back. I love that gray-green color. We have roses coming. The African daisy is looking great. We've got the iris replaced here. Look at the bright color on this rose. Isn't that amazing? And then, of course, Mr. Lincoln, always a classic. Deep, deep red, long stem, but these roses do need a trim, so there we go. All right, let's get started. All right, we are definitely at the point where we need to be trimming our lavender, and we have 3 lavender plants. No, I take that back. 5 lavender plants out here in front, and I'm just going to show you what they're looking like right now. And they need to go down by about 1/3, a little more depending on how the coming blooms are. So there's one. And then over here under the peach tree, which also needs to be trimmed. This one's kind of sprawling out here, but we have some new buds coming, so I'm going to try to be careful to leave some of those new buds coming. And then over here, this one is the one that needs the most work. It did not get trimmed in time last year, and you can see what happened is that it got a little woody. This is part of that same plant. We've got a gap here, so I'm going to do what I can to kind of gently bring this back. And then we have 2 lavender cones up here in the front. These still have some color on them. So we're going to get these. I still want to keep that cone shape as best I can. So I'll take a little more time with these. All right, then we have our 4x4 here, and as you can see, the artichoke has finished. think we can cut it down a little more than that. Mark just did a quick cut on that. We've got our carnations here that also need to be deadheaded and trimmed down. They really need more of a rejuvenation cut. And we do have, unfortunately, some grass coming in and a few little weeds. So we're going to get that cleared out. And then what I want to do in this bed for the fall is, late summer, I want to go ahead and put some compost in here and get some cosmos and sunflower seeds. And I think that would be a great show here late August. And I have one pumpkin I might bring out here and plant it in the 4x4 and then let it spread from there. But we'll see how that goes. We'll make that decision, game day decision. So, all right, that's what we're going to do. For this project, I'm going to work on the Vinca. And I love the Vinca in here. It's interesting. The light purple doesn't seem to handle the heat as well as the pink, but it's doing fine. But it is definitely time to cut these back so they'll have a fresh flush of color. So let me just show you here, around here, what we've got going on. See, the pink is just looking awesome. So there we go, from both sides. So we will trim those back. We'll get the grass that's growing up in here pulled out and just get this generally tidied up. Also in future, we'll be getting these stepping stones set in properly and then ground cover planted around it. But that's what's on the list. Let's go get some of that done. yard waste, I'll have all the seeds all over me. Well, it looks like it didn't record that, but this one is now shaped, and there's all of the trimmings. On to the next. Let's go over here. This way. This is the one that should have been trimmed last year, and I missed it. And it looks pretty rough, but it's doing okay. I gave it a trim about a month ago, and it's looking better. So let's see what we can do here. This a chance to recover. Show you all of it here. There we go. So still a little rough, but looking better. It'll be blooming again in about another month. All right, we have our yard waste. We've got our last lavender done there. Let's go put this in our bin. Go check on the Vinca. All right, the Vinca just needs a quick trim just to spur some new growth, so we're going to take after this. Looks much better. Let me get a little closer for you there. The blooms are mostly gone, but they will come back very quickly. Vinca loves the hot weather. Well, thank you for joining me here today for part one of the front yard refresh midsummer trim and maintenance. And we've gotten all of the lavender trim today. We got the Vinca around the keyhole garden done. I did one of the Mexican feathergrass because it was in my way. And for my efforts, I have a great jar of lavender, which smells amazing. So that's always nice to have some fruits of your labor. And then I hope you'll join me for part two, where I'm going to be working on this 4x4 right here. I'm going to trim down the carnations that are in here. We've already trimmed down the asparagus. I'm going to add some compost, and then I'm going to seed it with cosmos and sunflower seeds, because I just thought sunflowers and cosmos would be great for end of summer, beginning of fall, and it would really go with the Mediterranean motif I have going on here in the front. So I hope you'll come back and join me for that. I hope you'll let me know in the comments what you're doing in your garden. I'd love to know, where are you gardening? What are you doing in your garden this time of year? We're here in zone 10A, so we have excessive heat warnings nearly every day. I think we've only had a break of 2 or 3 days between them. So we're just ending one tonight at 8 o'clock, and then we've got a couple of days where it's only going to be in the high 80s. Which is still hot for gardening for me. But anyway, I hope you'll come back and join me for part two. We do a lot of fun things here on the channel. I hope you'll consider subscribing. It really helps our channel grow. And turn on those notifications so you'll be notified anytime we post another video. And I hope to see you next time here on Ponderosa Garden Adventures. Bye, guys.